Can I do this with Citi Field?
I don't know if you can do it with Citi Field, but
I mean, you should be able to do it with just about any picture, it looks like.
You probably can. I don't know.
No, so you gotta have the one where it's like a shelf full of books.
Which one?
Right.
Like, I don't know. Like, a lot of people will have like a background where it's like a bunch of books behind them, so it makes it look like you're smart.
Distinguished.
Oh, we're live. My bad.
Beginning banter is always good. That's something that we strive on in videos. So
what do you guys think about
okay
my place? Huh?
That's
pretty nice.
Looking very Hollywood.
LA looks nice, man. All right. Introduction time. Okay. This team may never lose again. That's all I got to say. They are red hot. The offense is finally clicking. The new pieces look amazing. And so far, the pitching's been great. Jacob deGrom is back. Everything's all happy. We're just waiting for the other shoe to fall because that's just how it works in Mets world. But it hasn't fell yet, so maybe it never will. But other than that, welcome to Mets Weekly, presented by Empire Sports Media.
On 3-2, Vader swings and misses, strike three. He struck him out. 5 Met pitchers combined for the second no-hitter in New York Mets history.
Andrew, go ahead. Say your opening line. Go ahead.
Yeah, I am a rhinoceros, and the Mets continue just to kick everybody's ass, and it's great to see. And hopefully not selfishly, maybe September 27th or 28th would be a really good day to clinch the division, or even the number 1 seed in baseball. That would be pretty good to just clinch it on those 2 days. But again, big Phillies of Philadelphia and Braves and Phillies again. So again, we got a big league now. Potentially 2 weeks from now, we could be fatter than me with a big ass lead. So we'll see what they do.
All right, TonyMetro, the ghost.
Yeah, that's what they call me. That is what they call me. Casper is my middle name, actually. Not really an introduction because I've been slacking, obviously. So all I'll say is that it's been very fun to watch the New York Mets lately. And let's just hope they continue playing this well. And selfish reasons, how about September 21st they clinch the NL East? It happens to be one of our special host's birthday that day. So I just, just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
Okay. Frank, about sports, as we're going in the order of age.
Right, yeah. So as the old timer, I've seen a lot of I've seen a lot of bad Mets teams in my lifetime. So on the rare once a decade times where you get the really good team, you got to enjoy it because you never know when the next one is going to be. The Mets have had a lot of good things break their way this year. They've had, the Braves think the Mets are so lucky. The Mets have had these miraculous comfort behind wins and things like that. But getting the guys healthy, having deGrom healthy, Max healthy, the whole starting lineup is healthy. You can't take those things for granted because just last year we used 64 players. So I just hope the Mets could keep this, health trend they've been on. And that's despite getting hit literally every single game, a lot of times, multiple times per game. So the fact they've been able to survive all that has been really impressive, and I like what I'm seeing.
All right, I do want to start off with the old crowd, actually. And that's the first topic I do want to discuss, as the Old Timers Day roster was just released today. We saw a few name drops throughout the season. We saw guys like, Jose Reyes. Mike Piazza will definitely be there. Mookie Wilson's everywhere. I'm pretty sure there's like 7 of him in the world. There's a few names that were a little bit surprising. I don't know if I can pop it up here, but I don't know if we will get to Spencer Strider because it was definitely a quite the story, and it'll be very interesting when we talk about luck. But let me pop this up. So this is the roster. I don't think this is going to come up very clear, but I can try and expand it. Hold on.
Look at Daniel Jones being inspirational. I think the best way you can do is probably this, or you can do that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Work with us, folks. Okay.
We are very dumb. Sorry.
Managers, we got Terry Collins, Joe Torre, Willie Randolph, and Bobby Valentine. I'm very shocked that Mickey Callaway is not making an appearance.
Very true. Or Carlos
Craig Anderson. Bartolo Colon, David Cone, Dennis Cook, Ron Darling, of course. I mean, we got there's quite a list of guys where, I mean, you see there's a few key guys that are missing, obviously. And when we have a lot of guys who are gone now, which kind of stinks, which is the fact that, we haven't really done Old Timers Day in a long time. And it stinks. But, I mean, any takeaways from this? I mean, you want to add any comments to this? Frank, as, again, old timer yourself. Anyone you need to add to this list, or someone that you would love to take off and take out of misery?
Yeah, the story he stuck out to me like a sore thumb was Mike Hampton. I mean, after all the bad things he said about our school system, how could we allow this guy to be back on here? I mean, or aren't we like too dumb for him to even like be on the team because we don't meet up to his great Colorado IQ? So, and he was only here for a year too. Like, I mean, come on now, man. I was very surprised to see him on here, especially compared to all these other guys. Jay Payne was the one I was surprised to see. I was like, I mean, Jay Payne was good. He was part of those teams that went to the playoffs, but still, he was someone I was like, oh my gosh, well, that's a memorable Met. We definitely got to have him. So there were some weird ones, but I'm glad to see they got guys like Tim Tuffle in there. I was really glad to see guys like, Bobby Ojeda, Jesse Orozco, because we got to definitely honor that 86 team because it's our most legendary team. So I'm glad to see those guys that I absolutely, idolized growing up watching. So I was very happy to see guys like that as well. And David Wright said he's going to be on there one day, but since he's in his 30s, he felt like he wasn't an old timer yet. But his buddy Jose Reyes did it. So, I mean, David, come on. We want to see it. I mean, it's not a bad thing to be on this list. Like, if anything, it's like a really good thing. It's a great moment, especially the inaugural one, the first one. So I would love to have David been on there.
I think, and that goes with the whole point with Mike Hampton. I'd say that, David Wright couldn't come, so they brought in the guy that created him with a draft pick. So maybe that's the reason why he's on here. One guy that I'm surprised is not on here, and maybe there's a reason why, but I have not really seen a reason. Mike Cameron. Why is he not here? That's interesting for me because he did have some highlight years with the Mets. Very underrated signing, shall we say. So that's a little weird. I think we knew that Beltran was probably going to step away from this. Maybe it'll be in a few years that he comes back and does something like that. He's in the Yankees booth right now, or I don't know.
So is David Cone, though.
So is David Cone too. Yeah. Bartolo Colon. I'm not a believer in really promoting his whole thing, but you know what? Whatever. He was a fan favorite. He's a piece of shit, but he's a fan favorite. Pedro Martinez, we knew that was going to be something. Bobby Ojeda, I'm pretty sure he was in the booth, a few years ago. Yohan Santana, we knew that was going to happen. Art Shamsky, fellow Jew right here, like that.
I could give you one name that's missing, and I mean, I can't believe it. Would have made this such a fun watch. Our boy Lenny. Where's Ned?
I mean, Lenny should have been here. Lenny should be here. Listen, he has not gotten arrested in multiple years now.
8 months. Come on.
8 months. There you go. That's the benchmark.
Come on.
They said,
multiple years now.
They said there was something with some guys that weren't vaccinated couldn't come. So I don't know if he follows that equation.
We also, I think what it really more is about is him and Ron Darling do not get along. Him and Darling have had some words for each other,
especially after Ronnie's book.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
That didn't help.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think that was the biggest thing. Otherwise, I like the list. I am a little surprised to see Willie Randolph on here. The way it all ended, the firing on the West Coast after a win, that whole at 3 a.m. or whatever it was. I'm actually a little surprised to see Willie on this list. I don't know. He never got another job managing in the big leagues, and I wonder how much of that had to do with the whole fallout with the Mets when he ended up getting fired. But I don't know. I guess it's the fences have been mended and all good in the hood.
Now, here is one guy that should be on here because we look at the legendary catchers, right? Mike Piazza, Todd Hundley, Todd Pratt. John Stearns was pretty good. We know Carter's gone. Josh Tolley, you got to add him there. but Jerry Grody's still around, right?
Mm.
That's interesting to me. Another guy that was not here. I mean, I would be open to bringing in, Lucas Duda. He was a fan favorite for a little bit, right? I mean, if you're bringing in some of the recent guys like Daniel Murphy, stuff like that, why not? Rafael Santana, that's a good one. Zeal, obviously. He's here.
I would like to have seen Curtis Granderson on here.
Oh, yeah.
I think he was such an underrated Met. Would love to see him on here.
I got one.
I mean,
for you,
yeah.
But it wouldn't have worked because he is on a coaching staff, and that is Super Joe McEwing. I would have loved seeing Joe McEwing, but he is on. I think he's the third base coach for the White Sox currently.
Vic Black would have been nice.
My homie Vic Black.
I gotta say, Vic Black would have been nice.
How has Tony not said Paul LaDuca? Where the hell Paul LaDuca?
Yeah, I was thinking about him.
I don't think he's invited.
Oh, Paulie! I can't.
That was. This is another point. As for the managers, I mean, all four of these guys, all were like good Mets managers, but or good managers, shall we say, Joe Torre. But David Johnson's not here, which is weird. But
might be a vaccination thing. Might be. No,
is it?
I think he's like 84, and he's either vaccinated, not vaccinated, or doesn't want to be around that many people and that type of situation. That would be my guess on the situation. I don't know.
It's possible. I mean, again, it's.
I mean, if we're going to Bartone here, I wouldn't mind seeing R.A. Dickey.
Yeah, Dickey.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to him? Like, he's really, since he stopped pitching, he's really just disappeared recently. Like, no one's heard anything about him. Like, I mean, and we have his catcher Josh Tolley joining us. So
exactly. I mean, R.A. Dickey is much more Mets legend than Josh Tolley.
I'll even shout out John Neese because he was important for us for a while.
John Neese pitched a lot in the dark ages. So
he did pitch a lot of the dark ages, but he was important for us for a while.
We're gonna bring Neese. You gotta bring G.
I'm glad John Madlack is here. Ron Darling, we knew was going to be here.
I wonder if they reached out to Billy Wagner at all.
That's a good shout.
Billy Wagner's coming.
It's gonna be.
Is he on there?
Yeah, he's on there.
He's on there. Okay,
cool.
It's alphabetically. I know.
All right.
Yeah.
I just watched a clip of the Yankees old timer game from 2018, I think it was, because I didn't really know what to expect. We've never seen one. I think the last one the Mets did was '94. It looks fun. It looks like it's going to be really fun to watch, but I don't know how much these guys have in the tank. It could be pretty comical more than anything.
Of course.
We heard about from Keith that he's not going to go he's going to go 20% for most of the game and then just come out of the game. I don't see it, but we'll see. There's some guys who, just recently retired and they'll probably, they'll probably still have it. And if the ball's going straight down the middle, I think Murphy will see some postseason flashbacks.
Okay, ready? Over under errors for Murphy in the game.
Okay.
Oh no.
4 over under.
If you put him in the outfield, it's clear over.
Oh, clear over. Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah, this happens with age. It is what it is.
Yeah.
All right, enough of the past their prime Mets because the in prime Mets are pretty damn good.
Let's get to this team, which is currently in first place, 7-game lead currently, right? I think. Do the Braves play today?
No.
They played yet? I saw the Phillies lost.
Yeah, Phillies lost. Yeah.
What else is new? But let's get to Jacob deGrom because he's our top guy and he'll be the top story. Return to Citi Field. He was so dominant until the Dansby home run, but that doesn't count. He was on steroids. So, I mean, I don't think I have a direct question for this. I'll start with Frank. Just seeing Jacob deGrom on that Citi Field mound again, the intro to Simple Man, and then the outro with Edwin Diaz. I mean, fun day.
Yeah, I think. Well, we hope that is a preview of the postseason. With that kind of recipe for success, deGrom opens it, Diaz closes it. Nobody could top that combination. Nobody has a starting pitcher like Jacob deGrom, and nobody has a closer like Edwin Diaz. So it was really nice to showcase the top tier talent that we have in those respective positions. But the thing that stood out to me so much about Jake was just that slider, the way they were constantly swinging and missing. And the only guy that was able to break that streak was Michael Harris. And the reason why is because he's left-handed. So that slider, he always throws it down and away to right-handers. So right-handers kept flailing. I couldn't reach it. But against the lefty, it's going right into his wheelhouse. It's going towards him. So he's able to see it's a little weak contact, fouling it off. But I'm just glad to see that his slider is still where it's at. He still has the velo. And it's just that, he still is the same pitcher that he was last year when he was on that historic trend prior to getting injured. And I think that Max Scherzer pitched so great the night before that Jake was like, how in the heck am I going to top this? I need to be perfect in order to top what Max Scherzer did the night before. And, for a while he was perfect. So it was just really fun to see. And again, just good to beat up the Braves, calm them down a little bit, send them back, get off our back a little bit, push them to the side. So I was just very happy to see that. And it's what you're going to need. I mean, if this team is really going to make a push in the playoffs, that's exactly what they're going to need. They need Jake to pitch at that kind of level and Diaz to close in the big spot, no matter how many outs it is, because you're not always going to have the perfect situations come postseason time. Just ask Jerry's Familia. You're going to be put in scenarios where you're in a tough spot, so you got to be able to handle it, and it's just good experience for these guys when it comes down to the stretch.
All right, well, Andrew, the man who caused the Jacob deGrom injury, and I will keep saying it. What did you like from that? It was fun, right?
See, this is why you should thank me. You saved 4 months of Jacob deGrom for his best 2 months when you need him to be the best. You're welcome. You all are welcome. And when we win the World Series, I expect my apology. Because why waste Jacob deGrom in April and May and June when we need him in October and September and August? So now you got him back.
Yeah, and then he leaves in free agency. And
he's going to go to the Braves
next year.
So. Yeah, he'll be a Brave next year. But we'll win the ring this year, and it doesn't matter. We win a World Series, it doesn't matter. So, again, Jake was great. Again, it's what you expect from Jake. He left the fastball up to Dansby Swanson's team the first time he actually could hit the fastball off Jake. He hits it about 440 off the $10,000 hit it here sign. So somebody at Citi Field didn't win any money, sadly. But again, he was perfect. And then handing the ball to Diaz, it's just that's what you want. You want 8 innings out of a playoff Jake to hand it straight to Diaz. Obviously, he hasn't been stretched out yet. He's only been going 5 2/3 the most this year, 75 pitches. Hopefully, and against Philadelphia, he gets up to that 85, maybe 90 pitch mark. And then we're off and running, training wheels off, and he's going 7 every inning, every game, and being, Jacob deGrom, and hell, maybe sneaking into maybe top 20 Cy Young candidate just for the half year. He did it last year, do it again this year. But again, he's been great. Again, having Max as he's our number 2 starter. So, and nobody wants to face us. And I was watching MLB Network, and yes, it's a crappy network, but they made it clear. Nobody has, look at the Dodgers. That's our biggest competition. They don't touch our 1-2, and their 9th inning isn't our 9th inning. So we match up well with the Dodgers. Yes, Craig Kimbrell, shaky as hell. We have Edwin Diaz, who's been Greek god this year in the 9th inning. So we are set up better than the Dodgers. Yes, maybe depth-wise, we'll see in October. We'll see them in a couple of weeks. But Jake has been everything you would expect from Jacob deGrom. Throwing a perfect game in your second, or flirting with a perfect game, second time, you've pitched in 13 months. We're not expecting that, especially against the Braves. Well, you take it. But again, we'll see. Hopefully, again, let's get the training wheels off. A couple starts in. If he stays healthy, goes deep, and he goes and does the thing in October, I think we'll all be pretty happy.
Tony, you gave Jake a challenge a few weeks ago, saying it's time to take the mound. He's taken the mound twice. What do you got? What'd you like?
And he's been everything that we all knew he's always been, this is what we've been waiting for. This is what we missed. Honestly, I think even better than we've ever seen him before. This is incredible. The way he pitched these last on Sunday or whatever day it was against the Braves was just ridiculous. How do you do that after not having pitched on a big league mound in 13 months? And, I was worried during the All-Star game when we heard that he had some type of soreness again, or, was delayed on his bullpen session by a day or so. Clearly, none of that has shown to be any type of an issue for him. We got to see him and Scherzer go on back-to-back days, give us a preview of what we can come to expect in the playoffs. Nobody wants to face this staff, and it doesn't even just end there. We got a great start out of Bassett this week. Carlos Carrasco has been really good of late. Taijuan Walker, a little shaky, but you know what? For the most part, is keeping it together. You know, we only need him to be our number 5, and he's pitched way better than probably any other number 5 in the league. Okay, so things are looking really good on the rotation front. But just specifically to get on Jake, I gave him that, ultimatum. Like, dude, get on the mound already. It's either time to pitch or, like I said in my words, shit or get off the pot. And so far, the shit's been great. The shit's been electric. All right. So really happy about that. And you know what? Just knock on wood that he stays healthy and we can take this rotation into the playoffs. Nobody's going to want to face this rotation, however it's set up, 1 through 4, 1 through 3, however they end up doing it. This is going to be a tough out in the playoffs.
Frank?
Andrew, what are you wearing?
Oh, it's laundry day. I got an Islanders shirt on.
You're a Penguins fan. What are you doing?
I have a Ranger jersey. I've got a Bruins jersey. I could have a bunch of hockey fans.
What a turncoat.
I lived in New York. I mean, I got this for like $3 at Kohl's.
Oh, come on. We're worth more than $3. Jeez.
$3 Karen shirt.
Oh, and can we just talk about how terrible this Field of Dreams game is with the Reds and the Cubs, both teams 20 games under 500, and I got to watch Joe Davis and John Schmaltz in these stupid old man driving caps. Oh, my God, they look like douchebags. I can't.
I loved the Field of Dreams game last year. I think it was very entertaining, but it's like, get better teams to play.
Well, because you actually got, the Yankees and the White Sox before they turn to shit, 2 good teams. This year,
I understand they want to do 2 Midwest teams or 2 like Central teams.
Then do the Cardinals
and 2 old teams as well. 2 teams that have been around
old
for a
teams,
long time.
It's
I
terrible.
don't know.
It's going to wear off. This thing, I give it this year. They're not doing one next year, which is smart, but it's only because they're renovating the field. But I think this is going to get pretty old pretty fast. Like, how many times can we watch these guys walk out of the corn before it's like, okay, like whoa, great.
I want to see one at Doubleday Field in Cooperstown. That's what I want to see. As Brett Beatty continues to OBP with a walk. What was I going to say? Yeah, Jake. You're going to see something special every time he takes the mound. And it sucks that we've missed so much of him for the entire year, but it's also a good thing where he's got so much adrenaline and he's been waiting to pitch for so long. And I saw that adrenaline, obviously, in his first game back against Washington, but then I saw a 96-mile-an-hour slider in the last game he just pitched. And I'm like, all right, he's back. But yeah, it's deGrom Day is a fun day. It always is. And, I love the guy. I want to keep him forever. I want him to stay healthy forever. Lock him in a cage full of bubble wrap and make sure he's healthy. He's stayed healthy so far, and they're just going to keep on, ramping it up each time, and we'll see what happens. And that's all you can really hope for. Anything else on deGrom, and then we'll get to Mustache Man.
Yeah. One more thing. This is a blank check with the name Page of the Order of Jacob deGrom. Please hand that to him, Steve Cohen. You got to pay this guy whatever he wants. You got to keep this guy in a Mets uniform. I know there's that scare of the injury, the concern of that and how healthy he's going to stay. He is so good when he does pitch, and I can't even think about this guy being in a different team's uniform. It will crush my soul if he continues to pitch the way he does for another team. So number 1 on the agenda for me is re-signing Jacob deGrom this offseason.
I mean, that's been my priority before he even came back. I know that if he's healthy, he's going to be the most dominant ever. And that's just how it is. He is. And listen, I'm younger than all of you, but like, this is the greatest pitcher I've ever seen in my life. This guy is the greatest pitcher you will ever see. Like, there's no one who is this good. Like, just the skill, the perfection. He's perfected the art of pitching. Like, that's how good he is. And it's just so amazing seeing this every 5 days. And I hope we can continue to see this every 5 days, that he stays healthy and that we bring him back. But as for the other guy that was facing Jacob deGrom, he had some comments on the Mets, and this opens some analytics for those who like him. And he was talking about how the Mets, they've hit into some luck, and we'll see what happens in October. All right. Well, crying a lot, very upset. Andrew, you bitch about a lot of things. So what do you think about Spencer Strider? What is the message you would like to send to him? I know you'll be as civil and as cordial as possible.
Yes. I'll keep this very professional and I will not curse. I don't give a fucking rat's ass what you think. You got your ass kicked 4-5. And if that's your excuse, you're 7 games out behind us because you didn't do your job. You left a fastball to Mark Canha, who was 0 for his last 19, and you threw a fastball right down the dick. Canha hits it in the left center field. Was Pete's some BS? Oh, yeah. I said in the group chat, that's the most bailed I've seen the Mets get bailed. A ball hits a bag, boom, it's in the left center field. You can bitch and moan about that. I'll give you that. But then 2 batters later, you're leaving a fastball to Canha, who's been ice cold, and he just ropes one in the left center field. Shut up. Just shut. I know. And then you look what Max Fried said the day before. I think that's the best thing is if you saw Fried's comment, it's like, I got to be better. I got to do a better job. Put some accountability, and you see the difference between a veteran and a rookie. This guy hasn't faced any adversity in the big leagues. The Mets have been the only team that's figured him out. Because the game in Atlanta, the Mets got him out in 5 innings, grinded him to shit. And now this game, they whooped his ass and got him out of the 3rd inning. This is the only team he's had a problem with. And for a kid who has seen no repercussions of bad starts, just dominating, it went through his head. And maybe the Mets live rent-free in his head. But, for me, I could care less. You're 7 games, pitch better, make better pitches. You throw 101. You saw what Jacob deGrom does. Develop a slider. You throw 100 and have a slider. You can be a better pitcher. But for me, it's a rookie being a rookie. Do I care? No. Again, we'll go cry in the first wild card spot. You're not catching us anymore.
The NL East is over. All right. Frank, Spencer Strider, he didn't like how we play. He doesn't like us. He's a Brave, and he doesn't like us. What a shock. What do you got?
I love the way the Mets play. I don't think it's luck. I think it's a good winning brand of baseball that's actually sustainable because the Mets lead the league in infield hits. And the main reason why the Mets lead the league in infield hits is because they hustle and they have guys that have pretty good speed and good athleticism. Mark Canha has been a specialist at it, just like these weak ground balls down the third base line that turn into infield hits. Marte, he's done his whole career. Nimmo does a lot. Lindor does a lot. Like, you just see a whole bunch of guys on this team that they're grinding at bats to knock you out in the 4th inning, 5th inning. Like Andrew said, they did the Spencer Strider both times. They do that to everybody. They do it just about every single day. Just about every first inning is 20 to 30 pitches, literally every single game. That's the kind of philosophy that they have set. That is what Billy Epler has built, and that's what Eric Chavez has preached to this guy. You have a team of guys like Nimmo, like Canha, and Alonso, Alden, McNeil. These guys that really just work at bats. Guillorme, they take so many pitches. They foul off so many pitches. You add another guy like Vogelback, who also will take a ton of pitches and work a lot of counts. That's just the blueprint that they've built for this entire lineup. So they do that, and then they just put the ball in play. It may be weak contact. It may be little ground balls, but it's not like what the Braves do where it's all or nothing, just striking out, chasing everything like the way they did against Peterson and Joely and Jake. They were just swinging at everything. The Mets don't do that. They have a much more disciplined approach that it may be weak contact. They may not hit the ball as hard as the Braves, but they hit it more frequently, which just leads to more base runners and all the chaos that you saw, especially that game that Max Fried pitched where you have a bunch of balls hit on the ground by Darren Ruff, and you got to make plays. You're in shifts, and Dansby Swanson's jumping, and Max Fried is falling, but that's all just because the Mets put the ball in play. If they were swinging for the fences, striking out, none of that stuff would happen. So it may not be traditional, but it still is effective, and it's a kind of philosophy that you could use in the postseason where you don't have to worry about being a streaky team. As long as you're constantly working quality at bats and putting the ball in play, more times than not, good things are going to happen for your baseball team. So it's not luck if it's what you've been doing all year long. This wasn't a one-time thing.
All right, Tony, you there? I know you had some comments for Strider when it happened. I don't know if he's here or not, but he'll probably come back like right when I start talking about it. So I'm trying to time this just right. No?
Just yours, and then we'll give Tony. If he's back.
Here's where I can come from it. I get what they're saying, but at the same time, that's their goal. Like, that's what they want to do. And that, there you go. Strider?
Wow. All I heard was wah. I can't beat the Mets. Wah. Dude, get the hell out of here. For 27 years, I have watched the Braves and their black magic voodoo shit against the Mets. I mean, line drives hit right at guys, amazing diving plays, home run robberies. Brian Jordan robbing a home run from Carlos Delgado at left field in Shea Stadium on a potential game-winning home run for the final out of the game. I'll never forget it. This has been
Ender NCR Denver Cespedes. Like,
I mean,
do it all the freaking time.
It happens all the time. But here's the thing. Good teams put themselves in a position to get good fortune, and that's what the Mets do. They put the ball in play. They're relentless. They work your pitch count. I think they just said yesterday on the broadcast that the Mets have worked a pitcher's pitch count in the first inning above 25 pitches 50 times this year, more than 50 times this year. Okay. They are a good team. It's not luck. Okay. Yeah. They're going to be bounces and breaks that teams get. Of course, baseball is a game of chance and just, crazy infinite outcomes. It's going to happen. But to say the Mets just are getting lucky right now, like, you know what? Fine. Better to be lucky than good then. That's my motto. So guess what, Spencer Strider? If luck wins us a World Series, damn, I feel like a leprechaun. I'm good with that. No problem by me.
I mean, the first point that you can take out from this is when you think luck out of 60 years, you think the New York Mets. We are one of the luckiest franchises in the world because we always catch a break. We always get what we want. And that does not sound anything like the Atlanta Braves. So I understand where they're going at, but this is the type of approach that they've created. One of their biggest goals here is to break the pitcher mentally and destroy them, tire them out, and make their arm feel like it's dangling like a sausage at, a deli or something. That's basically what they're trying to do.
Where are you going?
Tire you out, destroy you mentally, and that's it. They put the ball in play, and that's what they do. We have an equalizer to this because of all these lucky, crappy guys who with all the stupid bloop hits and the ground balls and the this and the that, we have our equalizer. There's a man named Pete Alonso who destroys baseballs. And guess what? He's the main catalyst for the offense. Is that the reason why we're doing so well? I don't know. And then let's also not talk about, this team having one of the best pitching staffs you'll ever see, dominating right now. And having the best closer in all of baseball and having all of, these things go right because they have a lot of good players and a lot of talented pieces. So, I understand from the exit velocity standpoint, yes, but pitchers are going to get tired. Pitchers are going to get frustrated. They're going to leave one over the plate and we're going to put it in play and we're going to piss these people off. And that's what they want to do. It's pretty much baseball's fault for manipulating the baseballs. Eric Chavez hated these baseballs and people trying to crush the ball. And that's where he designed this entire approach around.
Let me just add this as my message to Spencer Strider. Was it lucky that you guys threw the ball around the entire series, that you made countless errors on the infield? I mean, so many misplays from them. Like, was that all lucky? I mean, was it lucky that you started Marcell Ozuna, 4 out of the 5 games? And I think he was 1 for 18. Was that lucky? I'm sorry. No, you guys got your asses kicked. The Mets outplayed the Braves in every facet of the game. Base running, hitting, pitching. The bullpen even was pretty good that series. Not great, but good enough. And obviously they got Buck Showalter ran circles around Brian Snitker. They got outmanaged too. So I'm sorry. Lucky? No, you lost 4 out of 5. You got embarrassed.
Yeah, I don't know what to say anymore. Again, you can look at it from a point of sustainability, but they have these factors that can counteract these whole lucky claims. And again, like I said, and we all know that I'm the one with the stats here. I said, who has to be the main guy in this lineup for this offense to work? And the main guy has been the main guy. So there you go. If we have Pete Alonso hitting, we're all going to hit. And that's literally just what goes on. And then, next year we'll have more guys who hit the ball pretty hard. Like that catcher we got in Syracuse. He's pretty good. That third baseman's all right. He's better than the guy we got right now who just hits a bunch of lazy pop-ups. And then we also got that other guy in the beard who's hitting a lot of ground balls. It's kind of pissing me off.
What did you say?
But he hits. But hey, defense. That's all he's there for. Anyways, I do want to talk about Chris Bassett for a second because, even though, he may get roughed up sometime, but
what?
Biggest cliffhanger of all time.
I know, right? Jeez.
What happened?
And I'm the one with the shitty Wi-Fi usually.
What happened now?
You
Oh,
just
you
said
cut out after you
Chris
said
Bassett, he may get roughed up, but, and there was a long pause.
That was on purpose, obviously.
Okay. He did his lag switch.
114 pitches for Chris Bassett. This guy has a freaking rubber arm, and I've seen him do this in Oakland all the time. I'm pretty sure, and I was talking to you guys about this, he had like 110 pitches and like over either 6 innings. And he's
right.
like Scherzer in the matter where he wants to throw, and that's it. What I'm not catching up. What's happening?
You're lagging worse than I do usually.
Oh, okay. I'll come back. I'll give you the All right,
I think we got the gist of it. What are your thoughts on Chris Bassett and how he's been doing lately? He had his rough patch earlier in the year, but obviously been pitching much better of late and had some pretty cool bulldog comments this week. I want to go 115 pitches every game, but Buck won't let me. I think that's awesome. Frank, what do you think about Bassett and how he's been pitching lately?
I think that what he's been doing has been extremely important as to why the Mets have been successful, because there are times where we've talked about it a little bit, like on other streams, like not Mets Weekly related, but the reliance on Edwin Diaz and Adam Ottavino to do literally everything for this bullpen. Ottavino throw 30 pitches and work multiple innings, and you just put yourself in a situation where those guys can get pretty tired. So the fact that Bassett, even if he gives up, let's say 7 hits, he's another one of those pitchers like Jake, like Max, that if he puts runners on, doesn't panic, doesn't give in. He's able to overcome that adversity. And even though it may be a lot of base runners, could still give you that length. I mean, the fact that he's being a team player to really, put his arm in jeopardy, get you those 7 innings, get you those 8 innings on a consistent basis from Bassett. I mean, this is like every single time. We're talking 6 to 8 innings. That has been huge for this bullpen to be rested. Give Ottavino a day off. Give Diaz a day off. That's what allows them the occasional times where Diaz does have to go multiple innings or Ottavino does go multiple innings in a game the Mets really need, they really want to win, is because of what Bassett did earlier in the week. So it just has this really good trickle-down effect, and I think it really inspires the other guys. I mean, Taijuan Walker said after his start yesterday, like, this is what they want to do. They feel like that's what they, as a staff, they want to be working 6 innings plus to really rest this bullpen. And obviously we know Max is a guy that I feel like he could have kept pitching easily. I mean, he was pitching so well on Saturday. I feel like Max could have kept going. I didn't see any signs of a guy that was getting tired, a guy that was slowing down. Eventually, we hope Jake gets to that standard, but we've seen Carrasco. He's worked into the 7th inning plenty of times. So it's just been a whole philosophy, and Bassett's been the leader of it. And again, it's one of those recipes for success. Keep a fresh bullpen, you're going to win a lot of ball games. So I just love what I've seen from him. I love that toughness. That's old school. We see so many pitchers now that's like they get near 100 pitches, they got to take them out all. They can't throw 100 pitches. It's like against the law. But the fact that Bassett wants to go more, I just absolutely love that about him. And he can do it. That's the thing. I mean, he's not one of those guys that's trying too hard that's actually hurting the team. It's like, no, he could definitely he's handled a lot of big starts, a lot of pressure. So it's been really good to see. And I'm definitely liking him out there better than Stroman. That's for sure. Because he's been so like other thing, like you always see him in the dugout. Him and Max are assistant pitching coaches, always teaching the young guys, helping McGill, helping Peterson, Walker. They're always just giving lessons and notes in the dugout. So it's just been a whole philosophy of this and why they have the best staff in baseball, top to bottom. I think Bass is a massive part of that.
That's got to be racist, right?
No, it's not Stroman. Stroman would work deep into games, but he had so many other problems on Twitter that went along with it. Whereas Bassett, I mean, he's working a bunch of innings and he's not giving anything bad in the clubhouse to go with it.
Again, that's got to be racist, right?
No,
right?
I mean,
I'm just like maybe a little bit. I don't know.
Because Stroman, that's one thing they did do well last year was that more times than not, he was working deep into games. So he had the game against Cincinnati where he won a bunch. His game against Colorado won a bunch of innings. But Bassett's been able to do the same thing, but without any headaches along with it.
Yeah, he also holds himself accountable when he screws up, and that's been something I think has really been influenced by Buck Showalter a lot. You've seen the Luis Rojas whole mentality of if you screw up, it's okay. I'm gonna kiss you on the forehead either way. But no, Chris Bassett, everyone is concerned about him. Yeah, like what was it? The 4 straight games. He was like, relax. He's done this before. He's okay. He's fine. Andrew, did we get to you on Bassett? If you have anything you want to say on him.
Yeah, again, like both of them, Tony and Frank have said, again, he's been better than Stroman was last year. And we were like going crazy about what Marcus Stroman did last year. And again, you have the off-field crap with Stroman, and you got to love that big you love that contract. The Cubs love that contract. But besides the point, again, he's just been able to go out there. Yes, he had some stinkers that I want to put my head through the wall because he's walking guys, giving up hits, and yeah. But there has also been times against the bad teams where you need him to go deep in the game. He will do it, a la against the Reds. Go 8 innings, carve that lineup, go 115 pitches and get through 8 to save the bullpen. And again, we all know there's going to be a big series this weekend, and him going 8, not having to use Otto or Diaz in the 9th, him going 8 gives the ability to rest the bullpen. And now Diaz is fully rested, hasn't worked at all this series for the Phillies series. So again, he's been a good number 3. Again, he could be a good number 2 on a couple teams, but for the Mets, again, after the two-headed monster, he's your number 3. You can make the arguments. The other 2 guys are the number 3 starter, but I have Bassett as my number 3, and then Carrasco and then Walker. So again, he's been able to give you innings, and like you said, that's his job. Eat as many innings as possible, and he's doing that. I know preseason we were like, who are we going to get innings from? I know we hope Bassett's the only guy in the rotation, but we also had the question, what's Jake going to do? Could Scherzer stay healthy? Yeah, obviously, but he's stayed healthy minus that one COVID stint. He's taking the ball every 5th day and just eating innings.
All right, Tony, Chris Bassett. He's a pitcher on our team, by the way. You didn't know.
Yeah, no, I'm familiar with him. Pretty damn good pitcher too. But like I said, I don't know if you were on the stream or not, but loved his comments after his most recent start against the Reds, saying how, dude, I just want to pitch. My job's to eat innings. I'd throw 115, 120 every night if Buck let me. But that's the kind of mentality you want. I just listened to the Barstool Boys who had Daniel Vogelback in today. And Vogelback was just espousing on how the lineup is literally just like pass the torch to the next guy. And I think that also trickles to the starting rotation. They feel that same way. I think it's a competitive drive where they push each other. Oh, he did that, I'm going to do this today. Or also just like the whole idea of not letting the bullpen down, not forcing them into a tough situation, and therefore the team and, the next day having not so well rested pen. So honestly, the competition between these guys is awesome. I think Bassett is just really been a great clubhouse presence and addition, and he's a pro's pro. And I mean, I know I said I want to sign Jacob deGrom. I want to sign this guy back too for next year. There's a lot of free agents coming up for us this upcoming year, but would love in a perfect world to be able to keep Chris Bassett. I think he brings so many great things, not only on the field, but intangibles in the clubhouse too.
And what I like about him is that, again, he's not afraid to throw strikes, which again, that's my love right there. And the thing about him is that he's so good at managing contact that like he's able to throw strikes and he's able to trust his defense, especially with this defense has been good this year. And that's another reason. I mean, when the ball goes in play, less pitches for him to throw and he can get deeper into games. And that's something that I also like for guys who can actually throw a strike, because the innings go quicker when you do that too, if you didn't know. So, Frank, did you talk about Bassett?
I did. I was getting one more thing because you were talking about the infield defense and the way he pitches to weak contact. That start against the Marlins, where the Marlins were getting like those weak hits away from the shift, and Bassett was there like yelling, like you stand over here, you stand over there. I wonder how Bassett is going to be as a pitcher if they actually do get rid of the shifts. I wonder if Bassett is a guy who pitches even better, where he's like, you know what, I don't need a shift. I know what I'm doing. It's going to go right where I want it to, and he'll still be successful with no shifts. So we'll see how he is in a long-term kind of guy. Because what I like about Bassett too is that him and Max, they have those pitch repertoires where they throw a lot of different pitches. You know, Bassett will give you that really slow curveball. He'll throw a lot of different stuff compared to even somebody like Jake. I mean, Jake, he's just throwing fastball slider. He's relying so much on two pitches. And I think when you talk about another former Met, Noah Syndergaard, look how much worse Noah Syndergaard is now that he doesn't have his velocity. Bass is a guy, he's not relying on velo. He's relying on his brain. He's relying on pitch sequences, using like 6 different pitches. I mean, we had that whole thing early in the season where the catchers, like, we don't have enough fingers for all the pitches that Bassett throws. So I think that Bassett is also a guy that he could age well long-term if you wanted to give him, you know, a bit of an extension, 3 years, 4 years, whatever. I think he's a pitcher that would age much better than a guy like a Syndergaard, because Bassett and Scherzer, these guys are true pitchers. They use pitch sequences, not just throwers.
Oakland never really shifted that much. That was one thing that they never really did. I mean, towards like the end of his tenure in Oakland, I'd say like the last 2 years, they never really shifted that much. And he got a substantial amount of soft contact and a substantial amount of ground ball outs. And that was something that really led to his success and him hitting his stride towards the last 3 years with Oakland. I love this guy. I really do. Again, there's this guy, the special talents from Oakland, and they can be a difference maker and a big role player to help this team win. And yeah, I mean, even though Marte is not a guy from Oakland, he wasn't developed as an Oakland guy. He's been good too, and he played for the A's. So I guess we'll take credit for that as well. But Mark Hanna's a dog too. You're a loser. Hey, Mr. Bottom right there.
Rather have Chad Pinder, to be honest. But,
you know. You're a loser. No! Stop it. Okay. Other than that, I do want to also get into I don't know how much of a non-story that I believe that this is at this point with Dominic Smith.
Who the hell? Who cares? Who cares? It's not.
Listen. He's
cares?
been a part of this organization. Shut up. Hey, let me talk. He's been a part of this organization for quite a few years now. He was just activated and then optioned down to AAA. And there was some comments that were made of him basically being, you know, depressed and mental health, blah, blah, blah. And he was just not happy. He didn't enjoy baseball or whatever. And I mean, yeah, he did the last 2 years. He did play like he didn't like baseball. So, this was just very weird. I don't understand why this came out now. But Frank, do you want to add anything on this? Because like, it was very weird how it came out. Like, it was just very weird. Because, like, he's always been represented as, like, this positive guy, no matter how hard things are. And it's just like, It's a weird feeling. It really is.
I mean, don't forget, this is still the same guy that began the season with the Padres trade. He wanted to be traded. He wanted to be a starting player. So, and then I mean, when you play like absolute garbage, what do you expect? Like him and JD Davis, they forced the Mets' hand. I mean, they gave these guys just so many opportunities to show us something. And then you have Daniel Vogelbach show up, Tyler Naquin show up, and just play like on another planet compared to the production we're getting from Dom Smith. I think it was Lennon posted that the Mets were like 27, 28th in production from DH. And ever since these new guys have got here, Vogelbach, Ruff, they're now second in MLB on like whether it's average or OPS, whether they get for DH. So it's been such a night and day difference that it's like, you know what? If the Mets just want to cut their ways with Dom Smith, even if they release him, just say, because the trade deadline's over. You didn't get rid of him for nothing, which you should have, but they didn't. Like the way the Yankees did with Gallo, the Mets should have done the same thing with Dom Smith. Take a project prospect for him, even if he's a guy that's super young. They should have just got some kind of value for him. But if he's unhappy, he's depressed. I don't want a guy to be depressed. He's a good guy. So you know what? Cut him loose. Let another team sign him. He wants to be a starter. Good luck. I mean, maybe you can start in the Nationals. Maybe you and Luke Voigt can battle it out. So that's my whole philosophy. It stinks to hear that, but you know what? They gave him so many chances. It's hard to really feel sorry. You know what I mean? Like eventually, like Buck Showalter has said, it's not what was me. I mean, you know what? There's no excuses. He had his surgery last year, so we can't use that anymore with the shoulder. He just wasn't getting the job done. So that's where you are right now. You're in AAA, and I hope he has – like JD Diaz has done very well with San Francisco. I hope the same thing happens for Dom. He can move on somewhere else, be a good player, whatever, have a good career. That's fine. We're doing better now, and you just hope it goes well mutual for both sides.
Tony, anything you want to add to Dom Smith, the aftermath of everything?
Yeah, he said he wanted to be a starter. He never specified where, and he is starting. So, hey, enjoy Syracuse. I don't want to be cold. I don't want to take his mental health lightly and his comments about that. But at the end of the day, man, it's a business. He was not performing. And like Frank said, him and JD Davis forced the Mets' hand to go out and get some guys that could fill their role because they were not doing it adequately. And at this point in time, there is literally no spot for Dom Smith on the Mets roster. The 26 best guys have to be on this roster right now through the rest of the season and going into October. He's clearly not one of them. You're not going to take Darren Ruff off the roster. You're not going to take who on the bench is coming off this roster or out of this bullpen off the roster for Dom Smith? Nobody. There's nobody. So I think he'll ride it out this year in Syracuse unless some team is, willing to take him off waivers. Maybe the Mets will just do him a favor and be good guys about it. But at this point, I think he's going to just stick around in AAA for the rest of this year, and he'll be dealt come the offseason.
Andrew, try not to be racist here, but do you have any comments about the Dom Smith? Because I recall you picking him to be the MVP in one of our streams.
Yes, that was
2
last
years.
year.
2
You
years
also
ago.
traded Pete Alonso away
Yeah,
to give Dom free reign to be a first.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was pre-baby face. That was gimmicks. But yes, I think as everybody says, as the person, you feel bad for the guy because, again, he's been given every opportunity. He just can't stick. Besides the 2020, he had a good year. As a person, I do feel for Dom. He's a good dude. Met him a bunch of times. He is cool. But I'm trying to win a World Series, and you're not worth it. You're not on this roster. Obviously, we've given you a full first half, and we've given you 4 years, it seems like, as a first-round pick in this organization. You've been given everything. And minus 2020, you really haven't given back to us winning. So, again, the person, I feel bad for him because he's a good dude, but I'm trying to win a World Series. Daniel Vogelbach is way bigger than you and way better than you, so he has to be here. And then, you don't play any positions besides first base. You don't give us – it's not like you're like a Kike Hernandez where you can play literally everywhere so you can have a spot. You're just a first baseman who's above average to average defensively and a below average bat. So, for his sake, I do hope he gets DFA'd just for him to go freelance to maybe the A's or the Royals. No, not the they have Prado and the Italian dude, but like some bottom feeder team to just go out and play every day and just play in a meaningless.
So well,
It's Vinny Pasquini or whatever the hell his name is, the Royals guy. Vinny Pasquini. It's got too many letters in his last name. He's Italian. He's got too many letters in his damn name. But
God, we're never getting to monetization, folks. No, this is never gonna fucking happen.
Never gonna happen. But again, I just hope he just, for the Mets' sake, if it doesn't become a pain in the ass situation where he's complaining in AAA. If he gets to that point, just cut him loose, and if anyone picks him up, good riddance. You know, it's just we're trying to win a World Series here, and we can't have these little baby distractions for guys who have not given us anything.
He's expressed that he wanted to start every day, and these last 2 years that he's had, he's established that he's just as much of a starter as David Peterson is. Sorry, I had to do it. Come on, I had to do it. Sorry.
In there, but then
I'm
racist.
Sorry,
okay.
Boo me all you want. Okay. Now, all I can say is that, again, he's a good guy, and he's very easy to root for, but, like, you want him to do well. And that's the thing. He was a first-round pick. He was a guy who they had high expectations for. But, I mean, it's just, again, it's stuff we've already said before where it's like he just doesn't have a spot here. And he's played himself out of a job at this point. And, again, I feel bad for him. It's a mental game. It 100% is a mental game at the end of the day. But it just sucks to see that, like, this is coming out now. And it's like, it's just weird. Like, again, this was a DeComo story. So, wow. Pushing narratives. What else is new? But, like, the thing is that there's no future for this guy. There really isn't. And he's kind of played himself out of that. And that's just kind of just the whole story now with Dom Smith. And then that's just what happened. He looked promising for a little bit, and then he just fell off a cliff. And there's just you know, there's tons of guys that you take over him. Some guys in AAA, you're probably going to take over him. And AAA sucks. Believe me. That Beatty dude stinks. But other than that, the last thing that I want to talk about is Edwin Diaz, the most dominant reliever we have ever seen in history this year. The trumpets playing as loud as they can in Citi Field. I didn't get to see it yesterday live because the Mets had to be losers and score too much. But we talk about him being an upcoming free agent. There's been talks about this guy possibly breaking the bank for the reliever market. We know about the Raciel Iglesias contract. What was it? 4 years,
74 million.
74 million. That's going to be probably the benchmark at this point, but he's probably going to get a lot more because he's having a season better than any season that Raciel Iglesias has ever had. The dominance, this guy's just been completely lights out. This is the reliever market. I understand how dominant he's been, but you have to be really careful with this position. And we've talked about this tons and tons of times. Andrew, I'll start with you. And this was a poll in the chat. If you guys have not answered it yet, make sure to. How high will you be willing to go for Diaz? Like, what are you giving him? I think we already talked about what contract you would give him, but I mean, since then, he's been even better. So, what are you doing?
Well, I got crap because I was ahead of all of everybody because I said $20 million a year was going to get the deal done. It obviously tops the value of Razel or whatever. And I said, give him 4 years, but not 4 hard. It's 2 hard with team options or player option year 1, team option year 4. That's where I'm at. You know, obviously, again, I don't like paying relievers. You should never pay relievers more than 2 years. If you're paying more than 2 years for a reliever, you're dumb. I won't finish the line this time. You're just stupid. Don't do it. You can literally take that money and sign 3 relievers to fill 3 different spots in your pen. Yes, Diaz has been great, but if you're telling me, hey, take $20 million and sign 3 relievers or sign Edwin Diaz, especially with the Mets depth, I would probably take the 3 above average arms over just $20 million for Edwin Diaz. Again, this is if he goes out and wins the World Series and he continues this into the playoffs, maybe this is a different conversation. but we haven't seen him in the playoffs in any of his career. So right now he's great in the regular season. You don't get paid. You can get decent money in the regular season. You do in the postseason. That's where you get paid to get that $20 million number. So again, right now I'm probably still not giving him $20 million. I'm still probably letting him walk, to be honest, and signing other guys to fill the bullpen. But if he goes out and he's this dominant in the postseason and leads us, again, we win the World Series because of him, then we can talk about giving him, the World Series hangover paycheck. But if you don't get that World Series paycheck, I'm not giving him $20 million. I try to get, again, if he wants the $20 million, it's only for 2 years. You're not getting 4 to 5 years. No. But again, we'll see what he does in October. But for me, it's hard to give $20 million to a reliever over 3 to 4 years. So if that's what he wants, I'm going the other way.
All right. Frank, are you how do you feel about paying Edwin Diaz? What's the benchmark? What's the limit that you're going with?
I think that the better contract to compare him to is the one Liam Hendricks got, because Hendrick got 3 years of $18 million AAV with a club option for the 4th year. So I think you're looking at something along those lines, but you're going to have to top that AAV in order to get it done, because he is having the historic year. A year better than any year Hendricks had, especially if he does finish here with the highest strikeout rate of all time in a season. I mean, if he does that and he's doing it in the postseason and he's doing it 6-out saves with runners on against the elite teams, he kind of forced your hand where it's like, you know what? Generally speaking, you don't pay relievers multi-year. But if it's the best in baseball and he's doing it as a Met, and like Andrew said, it's all going to come down to the postseason, because Familia was having historic years for us in 15 and 16, historic. But in the big spots, at least in Mets history, historic for Mets standards. He's getting all these saves, he's coming through, but in the big spot, not so much. So if Edwin Diaz continues this in the postseason, I don't see why not. I would be looking at something Liam Hendricks like 3 to 4 years with some kind of club option involved, somewhere in the low 20s AAV, just because that would set the market. And that's all these guys really care about, is topping the previous guy ahead of them. If Edwin Diaz is the highest paid reliever, I think that's all he's asking for. That's all it should take. It really shouldn't take anything too crazy to get it done. And I think he has to enjoy being here. I would imagine he'd want to stay here, which is pretty crazy to say after the way his Mets career began and everybody wanted him gone. And he probably wanted to leave too, but I think that, a lot of us have gotten over it, and he looks like he's having a lot of fun out there. So why would you not want to keep that going?
All right. Well, Tony, you've always loved Edwin Diaz. You've always been a huge fan.
The biggest.
How do you feel about his future here? Would you be willing to, go high for this guy? He's having an insane season. So what do you got?
It is extremely difficult for me to answer, and for a couple of different reasons. The most obvious one is because we know how finicky relievers are year to year. Look at Raisel Iglesias. Like, that was not a smart contract by the Angels. The fact they were able to get out from under that and the Braves took it on is pretty crazy to me. That's not looking like such a great move right now. I don't think that would happen to Edwin Diaz automatically next year after getting paid. But again, it is a concern to pay relievers that much. And my other concern is, Edwin really does have to have that fastball sitting at, at least 99, but he's usually at 100. How many more years is that really sustainable? That's something that I'm worried about. But overall, obviously, yeah, in a vacuum, you want to keep Edwin Diaz. You want to try to do everything you can to keep him. It's just going to depend on how the rest of the offseason goes. And like I said earlier in the stream, the Mets have a ton of very important free agents this year, from Nimmo to deGrom to Bassett, and of course Diaz, who could be, the most important out of all of them. Really, honestly, it could come deGrom or Diaz. Like, pick your choice. So there's so many moving parts that I really can't give an answer. As far as, actual money values, all I can say is that I'd love for them to be able to find a deal that works. It doesn't come without concern, but the way he's pitched this year, the way he has shut down games for the Mets, would love to have him back. I hope it happens.
I'd like to add one more thing. I'm looking at the free agent market next year for relief pitchers, and Edwin Diaz is actually the third youngest relief pitcher that's available. And the other guys that are on there, Chapman, Kenley Jansen, Kimbrel, Britton, Will Smith, these guys, oh, wow, these are great names, but all of them are 35 and above. So, and they're all on the downslide, all these guys are just headed the other way. So, maybe you could get some of those guys on 1-year deals. But again, it's like, if this guy is still young and he's just hitting his prime, give me the guy that's in his prime. All these guys that have just been hurt and not the same pitchers that they were. So I think that, like I said, let's like, you could sign some other guys, but when you look at the rest of the market, he's probably the safest choice because those other guys are just too old to really count on.
Pretty sure the youngest
is Miguel Castro.
Free agent is Miguel Castro on the reliever market. So, yeah, all I can say is that the velocity can be a concern. We've talked about this with deGrom, but again,
he's actually been throwing harder this year.
He is throwing harder, but Edwin Diaz is 28 years old. He's not 34 like deGrom. So, and he's only pitching 1 inning. It's so hard to not look at this season that he's having and saying, give him whatever he wants. Like that's the thing. It's so hard to not say that because of how dominant he was. We made jokes about this. We made so many, comparisons to so many relievers with Edwin Diaz. Became such a meme, became such a guy. Oh, he blows saves. He points at home runs. Mariano Rivera wasn't doing this ever. He never did this. I'm going to tell you right now. Yes, he was a lockdown closer. Yes, he was good. As great as he was, overrated. But as great as he was, Mariano Rivera was not striking out 52.9% of batters. We've always had these concerns with Diaz. Oh, well, maybe if he can, keep the ball out of the air. Well, he's keeping the ball out of the air this year. Maybe if he can stop walking guys. He's not walking anyone. Maybe if he can stop giving up home runs or pointing at home runs. He's not giving up home runs this year. Maybe if he has command of his slider. He's got command of the slider. So it's like everything. And maybe it's, coincidence like, oh, the guy wants to get paid. But we all know how highly talented Edwin Diaz is. He's always been a very highly talented reliever. And he has the type of stuff where he can get historic numbers like this. And the fact that he's only 28 years old, the best reliever in baseball, going to free agency, this guy's going to be a hot commodity. And it's going to be funny because of what we saw back in 2019 of how the tables have turned. But, hey, that's just how it is with relievers. The tables turn all the time. I would love to bring him back. Again, I've made these points before, reliever market. It's very tough with the reliever market. I also made the point about Brody Van Wegenen bringing in Edwin Diaz because front offices like their own guys. Pretty sure that point's been thrown out the window since we've seen what Edwin Diaz is doing this year. There's also some stuff about, maybe he's a 2-pitch pitcher. They want more versatility in the closer role. But then you're looking at, and then at the end, you're looking at, well, he's Edwin Diaz right now, and he's more dominant than ever at age 28. So, they're going to have to be careful again because of the reliever position. But if he pitches 70% of what he's doing this year, on a 4-year contract, I'm taking that. I'll tell you right now. What he'll become a free agent and 32 years old. Right. And then he'll get to test the market again. So it's and relievers, some of them hit their stride in their older years. So it's hard to say. Again, it's hard to see and just be like, okay, well, he's having this incredible season. We've seen him at his worst. Now we're seeing him at his best. But it's it is so hard to not just throw your entire checkbook at him and say, whatever this guy wants, he can get it because he's been so dominant. And he's been historic this year. He's having a historic year. You don't see this at all from anyone. Even though Chapman was striking out a lot of batters, he was still walking a lot of guys. Edwin Diaz is not walking anyone. So this is the type of dominance. Dare I say, is it the greatest reliever season we've ever seen? Maybe not. but it's one of the greatest.
Oh, Wilson Contreras might have just broke his leg.
Dog. I'm sorry. That's inappropriate. Okay. What just happened?
He just looks like he twisted his ankle just really bad. He fell.
Are these
down.
field conditions any good? I can't imagine they're great.
He is in bad pain. Wow.
Well, that just screwed the Cubs too, because then the trade value goes down, or the value to get for him or whatever.
Well, he's gonna be a free agent.
Bad.
Free agent at the end of this
Oh
year.
no, that's good for them then, right?
What?
They don't lose that much value.
The Cubs are just idiots.
Cubs are the worst.
I'm sorry, but they're just so stupid.
Yeah, they're
They
being.
do have that one catching prospect though. That's pretty good in Myrtle Beach, but he's pretty young. What just happened?
Don't worry about it.
There was on a slide, right?
Who's
No,
the slide?
Who's the dumbass that picked? Let's have both teams wear white. Who's the dumbass that came up with this?
Hey, it's cream. Okay.
What are we? A cricket team? Okay.
It's just
I do like the Cub hat.
original.
I do like the Cub
Andrew,
hat.
listen. Back in the 1918s, there were very few colors on jerseys. So these two teams were both wearing white then. I mean, these uniforms bring me back to my childhood.
The entire world was black and white.
Actually,
Black and white, exactly.
Just all of a sudden, like, I don't know what happened. Actually,
I think
he
it
just
just
kind of fell.
It's not a broken leg, but it does look brutal. Let's see.
What do you
He's in a
do?
lot of pain.
No, they did say that back in the early 1900s and shit that the road team wore gray because they didn't have washing, somewhere to wash the clothes.
I mean, you think we could wear uniforms where there's one sleeve that's pink and one sleeve that's green? Listen, we just took the laundry we had and made something happen. Put a little bear on it, you're a Cub. That was it.
Oh, bear on it.
I mean, the Yankees, the early 1900s, it was just a white jersey. There was no logo on it at all. So, just how the sport started.
I mean, hell, that was more entertaining than watching this Giants preseason game. But besides the point.
Man.
I was just
Maybe
gonna
with
say
another hit, man.
I was going to say with Diaz.
I don't know, man. Is he ready? He might be ready.
Oh, Brett?
Yeah, another hit.
It's funny you bring up Brett because I was thinking about it. I was looking at just like the other contenders in the league. And we said to ourselves so much like, you know what? We've got to call up Alvarez. This production from the catcher, we got to call up Alvarez. And the guy we actually need to call up is Brett Beatty. Because around the league, you see a lot of teams that don't have catchers that hit that well. But there's very few really good teams that get such little offensive production at third base. Because at catcher, you could get away with the defense first guys. A team like the Astros, they're like, you know what? Forget offensive center field. We're just going to have a defensive guy at center field. It's like that's their one hole in the lineup. But you can't have two. And the Mets have a hole right there between third base and catcher. So to me, Brett Beatty has shown that he's a lot more advanced than he should be at his age. At such a guy that's so young, he plays like a guy that's much older. So I think if he continues to perform really well in AAA, I think he has to be called up in September. I think that, like we said before, you don't know when you're going to get so many of the chips lying this way, where you're going to have deGrom healthy, you're going to have Scherzer healthy. All these guys playing well, you got to capitalize on that. You're in win-now mode. So I think more and more it makes a lot of sense for them to call him up. And if he wants to platoon with Escobar, that works. But if he's the full-time guy, that works as well. Because I just don't think, like Yorme, we all like him, but you can only get so far. You can only get so far with Guillorme, and as much as I like Escobar, you can't predict or count that, he's going to go back to Arizona Escobar. Like, that doesn't look like anything close to a guarantee. If anything, it's more like he's going to stay where he's at. So I think more and more it makes sense to call him up.
You had your chance to get Matt Chapman, too.
But Mark Viento's not allowed to be moved. I mean, he is untouchable. Even if he's not a top 100 prospect anymore, the Mets cannot.
He did double today, so stock's up. He did double today, so stock's up. Whatever. They wanted to keep their top 10 to sit pretty.
And that was the other thing I was going to say, too. And I tweeted it yesterday, but we complained for months about the Mets bullpen. Some of the other contenders, that Yankees bullpen,
it's horrific.
Brutal. Absolutely brutal. And they don't have a Diaz at the end either. Clay Holmes has not been nearly the guy he was at the beginning of the year. The Astros, when they faced the Yankees, any game the Astros lost the Yankees was due to bullpen. And then the Dodgers, I mean, you got a Hall of Famer in there, but you also got some other guys in that bullpen. Not amazing. So I think the Mets bullpen, like, it's not great, but the other contenders aren't that great either. So I think third base to me is actually a bigger concern than the bullpen right now.
What are you complaining about?
Really, like, just
He's
dead?
trash.
Like, what is wrong with him?
Frank, how could you say that about the Dodgers? They watch your content. They got Chris Martin. They got Craig Kimbrell. They are watching Frank About Sports Channel. What do you mean?
And again, I like those pitchers, but not. I mean, they every now and then they have their ugly outings. So, and it's actually surprising to me that Chris Martin actually struggled against the Dodgers and they picked him up. But whatever.
The Dodgers, they got sticky stuff factor. They do everything.
That's true. I mean, they're gonna like trying to come back. That's gonna be huge for them. But still, as far as like after that, it's like what other relievers are you really like? Wow, you know, these are a lot of lockdown guys. It's not like 8 brilliant arms.
I mean, they'll put Dustin May probably in the pen too, so that's like our version of the rotation. I mean, yeah, who knows?
I just saw clearly just channel his inner Jordani Valdespin and just like forget where a ball was. He literally just his brain.
That's our best
melted.
prospect, though. If you watch our video, that's our best prospect. Well, not our video, a hot take video.
Oh my God, what was that? That was embarrassing. Sam Clay on the mound getting unlucky over here.
Oh God.
Can't throw a strike though.
I mean, and that's the other thing. It's like that Joely outing was so weird. I mean, he was unbelievably good, and he gives up weak contact, and he didn't walk anybody.
He's a god of giving up weak contact.
Frank's like, it was so weird. He was so
imagine how good he was. Imagine how
he usually that good, Andrew.
Imagine how elite.
Just how you said it. It's just like,
it
dude, it was so weird. It was so good.
Like, who thought that was going to happen? Nobody. But again, he matches up well with the Braves because the Braves swing at literally everything. Literally everything they swing at. So
imagine he is a soft contact god, right? He's got good stuff. Imagine how good he'd be if he could throw a strike. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that insane? Oh, well.
Yeah, and listen, I mean, maybe I can't count too much on Lucchesi, but we'll see what we get out of him. Same with McGill. We'll see what we get out of them. So at least there is like an outside possibility. Dos Medina looked good in his inning, you know. So I guess there's a possibility of some other guys stepping up, and they're going to have to. I mean, that's the only way they'll really be able to completely pull it off and get somewhere.
It'd be nice if you added Tyler Duffy for literally nothing, but you know, we'll talk about it. I don't think they want to talk about that.
We did a top 10 video that just came out a few hours ago. You can check out our top 10. But once Alvarez and Beatty are called up, Andrew, I'd say
Simone Juan is definitely one of those spots, and then take your pick between Dominic Hamill and Budo. Take your pick to fill those last 2 spots.
Desmond Lindsay, Carlos
Shut
Cortez.
the fuck up. I hate you.
Okay. I guess we'll end it off here. I understand there's not a game today, but you know, I kind of want to see more Beatty and not talk to you guys online. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm gonna go play MLB The Show. So yeah,
Tony, Tony Casper Metro. Is that what we're calling him now? Casper.
Mm-hmm.
We'll find out something. We'll find out something with good bite to it. But Tony, you can say your final words.
I really got nothing to say. Just hopefully get something going here soon. Otherwise, just check out my Twitter, TonyMetro MLB. You guys definitely probably already follow me or these guys, so you'll see me on there, ranting and raving, putting the old Tony reverse jinx on guys. So, yeah, let's go.
Arguing with Braves fan, ripping the Braves.
I've been crushing Braves fans this week.
I wish I was able to do that.
Oh, can't imagine why.
To be honest, it's kind of been relaxing without Twitter. To be honest, it's been fine. Frank,
Frank About Sports. I do the weekly recaps on this channel every Sunday. But other than that, I mean, again, it's tough when everything is just butterflies and rainbows, and they just can't lose a game. it gets a little tough. So I just been looking more at strategic stuff that the Mets have been doing, like Buck Shoulders decision making with whether it's bench platoons and who's batting where, things like that. I've just been looking at stuff like that and just seeing, his kind of thought process, some things like that, just little observations. But, other than that, like Tony, it's just mostly been Twitter stuff, if anything. So hopefully we get back into it. Maybe come playoff time, we'll have to come up with something. But it's Frank About Sports. Obviously, it's bigger in the offseason when there's news and things like that. But we'll see. I was hoping, listen, I had all these videos planned, Mets get Juan Soto, Mets get Contreras, JD Martinez, all these great videos that I guess will never be released. So it is what it is.
Team's doing good either way. So either way,
I was going
my co-host,
in the graveyard with
I'm partner in crime. Yeah. Andrew, go ahead.
Well, the Giants somehow scored a touchdown, so I'm shocked they actually put double-digit points up. But besides the point, Phillies fans are already
at the quarterback helm.
No, Tyrod Taylor, I guess.
Well, that tells you everything you need to know.
Well, he looked good.
Tyrod season.
Kenny Galladay dropping a ball in the end zone. Besides the point, back to the better team. Again, Phillies fans are already got their excuses because there's no Schwarber, there's no Harper. Whoop their ass. Put them 15 feet on. You're a wild card team. You're not on our level. We are Chick-fil-A. You are Burger King. Go to hell away. Shut the fuck up. You're not that good. You'll squeak into maybe the last wild card spot. Just shut up and sweep them. We got deGrom, Scherzer, Bassett lined up. They got Wheeler. Their little tiny little threesome. Whoop their ass. End their season. And let me just laugh at Philadelphia because there's nothing better than laughing at Philadelphia because they have really bad fundamentals.
Bad fundies.
I personally like watching the
He can't even go there.
More.
He won't even step foot in the building because of how disgusting he is with the fundies. That's bad.
I personally like watching the Flyers lose more, but like the Phillies are
of course. But
second.
It's the Sidney Crosby, second home of Crosby. I don't know.
As for me, locked out of Twitter. This is like prison. To be honest, it's actually been pretty relaxing. I've been able to focus on a lot of things. But other than that, we should have some stuff coming out for next week. I think we'll probably go live tomorrow. If one of these guys joins us, or Andrew might join, something like that, we'll talk about some stuff.
Griffey comes out tomorrow.
Big Phillies series, because apparently this is going to be a huge competition after the Phillies just put up a goose egg against the Marlins. So other than that, that's pretty much it. Follow Mets Weekly on Twitter. All the links are in the description of everybody individually, all that stuff. EmpireSportsMedia.com for all your New York sports and all your stuff and all that great stuff. It's great. It's been a long stream, guys. All right, so we'll see you guys next time. LFGM, this team is red hot, coming up against the Phillies. We got Scherzer and deGrom. It's going to be fun. We all know it. But other than that, LFGM, and we'll see you guys next time. Outro insert.